I'm now going to demonstrate how to start the diet. You should have already watched the previous instructional videos regarding how to set the 3 things that you need to set before you can start your diet. You have to set your profiles, your sleep time, and you have to pick a target weight and date in the future. I'm assuming that you have watched the instructional videos for how to do that. If you haven't, you should watch those videos first, because that's something that has to be done before you can push this start diet button here on the screen. So once those have been set, you're all ready to start the diet. Now, before this point in time, it's still possible to go back and change something, okay? You could still go in and alter your profiles, okay? Okay, you could change any one of these. You could remove one of them and you could add another one, okay? It's still possible at this point in time. You could also still alter your target date and weight, okay? You could go in here, you could change your weight to something different. You could pick a different date, okay? But I'm assuming that, this should all be done on the same day, okay? You should set those profiles and this information. It should be all done on the same date, and then once you've set it, you should be starting the diet on the same day. Not so that your weight doesn't change before you press the start diet button, your starting weight. So to get back to that start diet button, you would just press on the menu, view today's directions, okay? I'm going to press this button right now, and it's still going to ask you one more time to confirm that your current weight, that's your current weight in your undergarments, is 265.4 pounds, which is what we previously set. Your target weight is still 185, and the covered days is 3 years, or 1,096 days. So I'm going to press the yes button. If I press the no button, I could go back and alter those things, okay? But I'm going to press the yes button here, and it's going to do a series of calculations. Now, your screen is going to look slightly different from this screen. And the reason I say that is because you will never see the button for previous day or next day on your screen. The reason that you're seeing them on my screen is that this is a test version of it that I specifically had designed by the app designer to include those buttons so that I can demonstrate the passage of time for you, so that I can quickly make instructional videos for you to show you how we move from one day to the next day to the next day, okay? Whereas you would have to wait 24 hours each time to get from day 1 to day 2 to day 3 to day 4, I can move to those days just by pressing that next day button. And we can quickly demonstrate for you how the app moves through time and how the directions change over time. So that's just something important to remember. You're never going to see those buttons. You should pretend that those don't exist. You will not have the option to push them ever on your version, okay? So it's not something you need to worry about. So let's take a look at our first screen here, and it says day 1. Okay, there's our date, November 29th, 2017, and it says today is a non-eating day. You can either call it a non-eating day or a fasting day if you want. Avoid eating any solid food for the entire day. So this is the instruction you're going to see on the first day. So be prepared for that, okay? You should be pressing that start diet button on a day where you haven't eaten anything yet and you don't intend to eat anything for the remainder of the day. I'm assuming that you've watched the other videos, okay, in this series before this that explain basically the premise behind the app and the diet itself, in that you eat every other day. If you haven't watched those videos, you need to watch those videos to get an understanding of the principles behind this diet. So I'm assuming that you've already watched that information. But basically, you're not supposed to eat on this day, okay? You're not supposed to eat anything solid food-wise. The principle behind that is, for me personally, I find food to be a trigger, and as soon as I start eating solid food, I only want to eat more food. I don't want to stop. My personal theory is that if you don't start eating on a certain day, you're going to be a lot less tempted to eat, and it becomes a lot easier over time to fast every other day. So in terms of what you can consume, it is acceptable to have beverages. Okay, you can have plenty of beverages, but a general rule of thumb for me personally is I don't want to consume more than 100 calories in a day, which means you're not going to be drinking sugary drinks, okay? You should be drinking, if anything, you should be drinking a lot of water, okay? Or something that is very low in calories, okay? You can drink, I'm not into diet drinks, okay, diet colas, but some people are. They are acceptable. I don't have any personal experience with them, but if you want to drink them, that's fine. Coffee and tea, that's fine. Just you've got to watch, don't load them up with sugar and cream. The idea is to keep it under 100 calories a day, okay? And you should avoid eating anything, okay? Now I'm going to press, let's just explore the menu before I press that next day button, okay? You can see we still have, okay, our menu over here. And if I press Views Today's Directions, this is what I'm going to see. If I close the app and come back to it, I'm still going to see this as the daily directions, okay? I'm going to press the next day button here, and you're going to see a completely different screen, okay? So, next day, day 2. This app is going to change from day 1 to day 2 when we hit the sleep time that you set. So if you set 12:30 a.m. as your sleep time, then in the middle of the night, ideally when you're sleeping, okay, this is going to move from day 1 until day 2, okay? If you set it for 4 a.m. like I did, it's going to change from day 1 to day 2 at 4 a.m. And then, you wake up 7, 8, 9 a.m., you turn on your phone, you open up the app, and you're going to see a new set of directions. Overnight, we'll have gone from day 1, a day where you weren't supposed to be eating anything, to day 2, a day where it tells you can eat. And let's review today's instructions. It says, you can begin eating today as soon as your profile weight is this amount or less. And then it's showing you the 4 profiles that you set up. I know that profiles can be a little complicated and confusing for certain people. They just have a hard time grasping it, okay? But as I've said before, they're for your convenience, okay? It's to avoid having to strip down to your undergarments to see how you're doing, okay? Now let's take a careful look at what this message says. It says you can begin eating today, okay? So that means if you wake up at 8 a.m., okay, you just don't go to the refrigerator and start stuffing yourself, okay? Because that's not what the directions were, okay? The directions say you start eating when your profile weight is this amount or less. Now, I'll tell you right now, in the beginning, at least for the first couple of weeks, 2, maybe 3 weeks, you're not going to have any problems, okay? You will wake up in the morning. My personal experience is this. You wake up in the morning and you're going to be able to eat immediately, okay? Because your body, that's just the way diets are. You always lose more in the beginning. It's easier to lose in the beginning, okay? So let's say a real life situation, okay? I wake up day 2, and I always say this, I mean, not to be crude, but my standard is I wake up in the morning and before I weigh myself, I want to have the same base to weigh myself each time. So I urinate before I weigh myself, okay, first thing in the morning, and immediately after that, I step on my scale to see how I'm doing, okay? So a realistic example is I'm going to step on that scale and I'm going to be maybe, 263.4 pounds, okay? Because there's going to be a dramatic effect from not having eaten for an entire day. It's bound to happen. So if I compare my 263.4, it's underneath all of these weights right here, okay? So in that sense, okay, I can begin eating immediately, and as per the rules of the diet, I can eat for the remainder of the day, okay? No problem. That's the way it works. I can basically eat until 4 a.m. the following day, should I choose to stay up that long, because 4 a.m. is my sleep time, and 4 a.m. is when day 3 starts officially, and then I won't be able to eat on day 3, okay? Now, when I speak of weighing myself, okay, usually when I get out of bed, okay, I would be in undergarments. I wouldn't be dressed yet, okay? So in that situation, that specific situation where I have urinated and I'm in my undergarments and I weigh myself, I'm looking for my weight to be under the weight that is my base weight, 265.4 pounds. That's the number I need to focus on when I'm in that situation where I'm just wearing my undergarments, okay? Now, if for some reason, okay, I am wearing clothing, then I need to be under a different number, okay? So let's say for some reason I don't weigh myself immediately upon getting out of bed, okay? I do some other things for a while. I don't start eating and drinking though, okay? But maybe I go and, watch the morning news on TV for 15 minutes. And in doing so, I've put on some clothing, okay? It's summertime, so I'm wearing my summer clothing, which, as you recall, is shorts and a t-shirt and my socks. So I'm sitting around in my summer clothing. And then at that time, okay, I decide to go and weigh myself. It would be the same situation. You still want to urinate immediately before weighing yourself because that adds weight, okay? So you want to be consistent. So in that situation, I step on the scale and let's say I'm 266.0, okay? Now you'll notice 266.0 is above the base weight number, but that is not the number we're looking at. We're looking at the summer number of 267.4. We're looking for our weight to be under or at 267.4. So if I'm in my summer clothing and I step on the scale in the morning and I weigh 266.0, that means I have reached my goal of being 267.4 in summer clothing or less for that day, okay? Which means I can immediately start eating basically anything I want, as much as I want, okay? And I know that may sound unusual. Most diets, in fact, all diets pretty much tell you, no, you need to be on your diet every single day. You need to be eating salad and very low calorie. No, that's not the way this diet works, okay? This diet alternates from days where you eat nothing to days where you literally eat everything, okay? Now, of course, you have to use some precaution. But when I say everything, I mean don't limit yourself. Eat what you want, okay? Especially in the beginning phases. Maybe 2 years from now, you have to alter that theory somewhat, okay? But in the beginning, eat what you want, okay? If you want to eat, three meals that day, and you want to have your potato chips, and you want to have a piece of cake, okay, do it. Because that's the way it works, okay? Believe me, I know it sounds like it wouldn't work in the long run, but I'm living proof that it does work. This is how I live my life, okay? I've been doing it for over 2 years. I eat everything I want one day, basically, and then the next day I eat nothing, okay? And my weight keeps dropping consistently, okay? So I've said enough about day 2. Let's push this button and we'll go to the next day, day 3, okay? So you'll notice something different on day 3, okay? Now remember, you're not going to see this previous day, next day button, okay? Only I have those, but you will see that red button, okay? Today I want to eat. That's what we call a cheat button, okay? And it's there specifically for situations where You're not supposed to eat that day according to the plan, but for some reason, you just have to eat, okay? Now, it's not to be taken lightly, okay? If you're always pressing that button, this diet's not going to work. You're wasting your time, okay? So you're just torturing yourself unnecessarily by not eating every other day. So it's there so that there is a way for you to eat on certain days where you have to eat, okay? For instance, Christmas Day, okay? I mean, if you're getting together with the family on Christmas Day and everybody's eating and having a great time, and this thing said December 25th, if we had started December 24th, if this thing said day 3, December 25th, this is a non-eating day, avoid eating any solid food for the entire day. Well, that's an occasion where you want to override the instructions, okay? And you're going to want to press that red button, okay? And I'm not going to do it because that's going to be a different instructional video, okay? Pressing that cheat button, but I will deal with it, okay? Because it is an important feature, very important feature of this, and you need to know when to press it, how to press it, and what happens afterwards, okay? But I'm going to keep this instructional video simple for you because I want to demonstrate some other things for you, and we won't be pressing that button at this time. So let's take a look. It's day 3, okay? Now we're at December 1st. Today is a not eating day. It's telling you the same thing as it said on day 1, okay? Now, you just ate all you wanted basically on day 2. So, you're waking up and your stomach should be still fairly full from the previous day, okay? Will you be tempted to eat? Of course, okay? Because you're used to eating every day. But as I've said in other instructional videos, you have to resist the temptation, okay? This gets a lot easier, okay? And maybe I've said it in other videos, maybe I haven't, okay? Day 1 is going to be one of the hardest things you've ever done in your life, okay? I mean, for many people, it was for me. When I put it on a scale of difficulty, my own personal experience, my day 1, not eating anything for the entire day and going to bed without having eaten anything, it was like an 8.5 or a 9 out of 10 on the difficulty scale for me, okay? But when I went to bed that night, I felt like I had accomplished something great, okay? And when I woke up the next morning and I was able to eat, I was really proud of myself for having not eaten for on day 1, for having resisted the temptation. And now we're on day 3. And I know we're only 3 days into this, but take my word for it. You will enter day 3 with a totally different mindset than you had on day 1, okay? Because you're really tempted to give in on day 1 and eat something, even something small like an apple or some soup or something like that, okay? Or one candy bar or half a sandwich, okay? There's the temptation is so great on day 1. But if you can do it, if you can get through day 1, and then you get to day 3, you have in your mind, you can do it. That you wake up on day 3 and you have this feeling of confidence that you didn't have on day 1. Because on day 3, you say, yeah, I know it's going to be difficult today, not eating. But you know what? I've already done it once. And if I can do it once, I can do it again. And it's hard to believe that you can gain that kind of confidence in 3 days. But believe me, you can. And it gets easier and easier and easier. Okay, day 3 is easier than day 1. Day 5 is easier than day 3. As I said, I put the scale of difficulty of day 1 for me personally at about 8.5 or 9. Okay, that's how hard it was. My day 3 was already, the difficulty level was already down to like a 7 out of 10. Okay, so it had already gotten easier. By day 5, it was down to about a 6 out of 10. By day 7, it was a 5 out of 10. Okay, every time you do it, it gets easier the next time. And it gets mentally easier and it gets physically easier, okay? And literally, it takes about 2 weeks, maybe 3 weeks, but somewhere in that 2 to 3 week range, something changes in your mind and your body, and it just becomes second nature to you. After 3 weeks, for me anyways, in 3 weeks, 21 days, I had already done this 10 times. I'd already done it 10 times. I hadn't eaten a single thing all day. And when you can do it 10 times in a row without giving in, you can do it forever, okay? My 10 times has become 2 years, okay? More than 2 years, okay? In more than 2 years, okay, I've done it more than 365 times, okay? Because there's obviously 365 times 2 years. I have more than 365 times I haven't eaten a single thing in a day. And this is something that I considered one of the hardest things I've ever done, okay, on the first time I did it. So if you can make it to day 3, I'm just telling you, just hang in there, okay? Hang in there on day 1. Don't give in to temptation, okay? And you're going to succeed, okay? It's going to get easier and easier for you, okay? So I'm just going to show you the menu here, okay? We still got the menu over here. You notice how it says your trial period is 19 days, okay? Your message may be slightly different because this is a test version that I'm demonstrating to you, but it will be counting down like that, okay? Every day it's going to be 1 day less, okay? Approximately. I mean, we count days starting at 4 a.m. on this version, and the store where you downloaded the app may count it slightly differently, but basically it's going to go down 1 every day, okay? So if I want to go back to the directions, I can either press view today's directions, or I can just do this. Just touch the side, that gray area beside, and then I'm back to where I was, okay? So I'm going to skip ahead another day, okay? I'm going to press the next day button, and you're going to see what's going to happen here, okay? Here's the next day, okay? So I get the same message again, that I can begin eating when my profile weight is this amount or less, okay? So you'll notice these weights have gone down, okay? And that is the principle, okay? Remember our base weight started at 265.4, okay? And now it's telling me my base weight, I can start eating when my base weight is 265.2. So it's already forcing me down 0.2 pounds in these 4 days, okay? And to demonstrate it a little bit more dramatically, okay, I'm going to skip ahead a couple of days here. Watch what happens, okay? This is every time I press next day is 24 hours. So there's 24 hours later, there's day 5, okay? It's telling me not to eat. Here's day 6, okay? Now look. Our base weight has gone down to 265.0. All of the weights have gone down, okay? My summer was originally 267.4. My winter was originally 268.6. And my work weight was 268.0. So all 4 of them have gone down the exact same amount, 0.4 pounds. Now, it's not going to go down every other day. Some days it will remain the same, okay? It all depends on the math calculations. This is why the app is so useful to you, because it does all the heavy lifting. It does all of the complicated math calculations in the background, because some days it will go down. Okay, it's designed to round it off to the nearest 0.2 pounds so that it matches what's on your scale. I'm not going to show you the decimal places. I could show you 4 decimal places. That doesn't do you any good. You want a weight that's going to match what's on your bathroom scale. Now, if you're doing this in kilograms, you'd be seeing it down to the nearest 0.1, because that's how we measure on these digital scales in kilograms, okay? So I'm just going to move forward a little bit more here, okay? See, we're 265.0. Here's day 7, okay? And here's day 8. So we're down okay, now we're down to 264.8, okay? Now we're going to go forward a little more. Next day, next day. Now, look what just happened. On day 8, we were at 264.8, and on day 10, our base weight goal is still 264.8. So why is that, okay? On the surface, that doesn't make sense. Why is it going down? Why is this weight goal going down on some days and not on other days? Why have 2 days just passed and the goal hasn't gone down? Well, in the background, in the math calculations, it has gone down, okay? And the reason you're not seeing it is because it rounded the same, okay? It's rounding to the closest point to. It's not always rounding up. It's not always rounding down. It's rounding to the closest point to, okay? And in this particular case, okay, on day 8, we rounded down to 264.8, and on day 10, we're rounding up to 264.8. That's just how the math happened to work out, okay? So it's nothing to be confused about, okay? But that's what you're going to notice. On sometimes, every other day, it's going to push that number downward, okay? And on other times, it's going to be the same as it was 2 days ago. And it's nothing to be concerned about. It doesn't mean the app has made a mistake, or it's totally normal, okay? So don't worry about that. So let's take a look at this example. We're already 10 days into the diet here, okay? And as I said, the first couple of weeks, you tend to be able to make these goals because your body isn't used to, okay, not eating every other day. So weight can come off easier in the beginning, okay? So, but let's say that on day 10, okay, you're noticing that you're stepping on the scale and you're a little closer to these numbers, okay? So you may wake up, okay, and you may step on the scale and you're exactly, it's maybe 8 a.m. and you're exactly 264.8, So in that case, you've still reached that goal, so you can start eating at 8 a.m., okay? Not a problem. So let's go out 2 more days, okay? Next day, okay, 1 more, next day, okay? Now it's gone down. Now it's 264.6. Now let's say on this day, okay, I wake up, okay, I'm still in my undergarments, and I step on my scale, and my weight in my undergarments is 264.8, okay? Well, now I have a problem because I have not reached 264.6 yet, okay? And if you read the directions, it says you can begin eating today when your profile weight is this amount or less. So you're not this amount or less. If you're 264.8, okay, in your undergarments, okay, you have not reached the goal yet for that day, which means, and this is very, very important, okay, you cannot start eating that day yet, okay? If you do start eating at 8 a.m., you're going to undermine the goal and it won't work, okay? The whole premise of this diet, it's not just eating every other day. If it was just eat every other day, it would be really simple. You wouldn't need an app for that, okay? You just eat every other day. But after a couple of weeks, okay, it's more than just eat every other day. You have to meet these targets that are constantly moving downward, okay? And that's why it's called micro-target diet, okay? The micro in the word micro-target diet means you lose a tiny amount of weight every other day and you don't start eating until you reach that new goal that's slightly lower than it was 2 days ago, okay? So, what do you do in this situation? Well, today's a work day, you've got to go to work. And so my personal suggestion, okay, everybody's got their own situation, okay, everybody's got their own life, but let's say you work in an office, because we put in a profile that said, suit, business suit, okay, with shoes. My personal suggestion is you own 2 identical scales, exactly the same, so that they weigh you exactly the same, okay? That you get consistency. And you keep one of these scales in your home and one of these scales at work. So, you can't just say, well, it's impractical for me to have a scale at work. You're making excuses. You're either committed to this or you're not, okay? And if you're not committed to making it work, then, go try another fad diet. I mean, I'm sorry to be that, blunt about it, but this is the way this diet works. MicroTargetDiet works for those that follow it as directed. It works really, really well, okay? So get used to the fact that you're going to have to weigh yourself outside of your home once in a while, okay? If that's going to be a problem, this isn't going to work, okay? So have that scale, at work somewhere. Keep it in your desk, or keep it somewhere under the desk or whatever. Have it out in the open. I mean, it's not a big deal having a scale at work. It really isn't, okay? So you go into work and, maybe your coffee break is at 10 in the morning, okay? 10:15. And when you're having that break, you step on the scale, okay? The principle is you will continue to lose weight throughout the day, okay? You will weigh less at 10 a.m. than you weigh at 8 a.m., okay? Now, there are obviously exceptions to that, because if you've drank a coffee, okay, immediately before that, well, maybe you don't weigh less. But in general, okay, in terms of the amount of body fat that you have, your body's constantly burning food. It's either burning food in your gut or it's burning fat, one or the other, okay? So you will continue to lose weight throughout the day, every day, okay? It's just the way it is. So at 10 a.m., let's say you step on the scale and your scale says 267.2, okay? Now, how would you interpret this? Well, you are in your work profile. You're wearing your business suit and your tie and your shoes while you're stepping on this scale, okay? Your work profile is made to account for the weight of that clothing, okay? So if you're at work and you're dressed in your suit and tie and shoes and your weight is 267.2 at 10 a.m., that means that you can now start eating on this day, okay? And it's as simple as that, okay? You can have an early lunch, or you can have a snack, and then you can have your lunch. But you've missed your breakfast, okay? And you know what? Get used to missing some breakfasts, because it's going to happen, okay? This diet is not going to work for you if you need to eat 3 square meals a day starting at 7 or 8 a.m. in the morning every time, okay? That will only work for 2-3 weeks maximum. And then you're going to run into a situation where you can't start eating when you the minute you roll out of bed every other day, okay? But I'm telling you, try it. This works, okay? So let's take a look at this, okay? You're 267.2. Now, for those having hard time understanding the way the profiles work, okay, you may say, yeah, well, I don't get it. Well, why can I start eating? Like, my base weight says 264.6 and I'm 267.2. I'm over that. Okay, remember, okay, you are measuring your weight and you account for the weight of your clothing, okay? Your goal is to be 264.6, but only if you're weighing yourself in your undergarments, okay? And this is why the profiles are there to help you, okay? Because if we didn't have the profiles, then you'd have to, if you had to weigh yourself at work, you'd literally have to take your scale into the bathroom. You'd have to strip out of your clothing in the bathroom to be in your undergarments, okay? And you'd have to step on the scale in your undergarments in the bathroom at work, okay? To check if you were 264.6 yet that day and if you could start eating yet. So that's why we have the profiles. They're there for your convenience, okay? They eliminate the need to constantly strip down to your undergarments. They account for the weight of your clothing. Now, you may say, well, yeah, but I don't understand. I don't wear the same thing every day. I mean, you know, clothing may be slightly different, you know. You know what? Close enough, okay? I mean, you have to be accurate, but you don't have to be that accurate, okay? I mean, maybe you change your shoes and at work and one pair of shoes is 0.2 pounds more than the other pair of shoes, okay? Doesn't matter, okay? It's close enough, okay? Your work profile is adding 2.6 pounds to your base weight to account for the clothes you're wearing at work. And that's the important part. The fact that it's adding 2.6 pounds, not the fact that you got a different pair of shoes today, so it's 0.2 different than it was 2 days ago, okay? That's not important. It's wearing your clothing, okay? Checking your profile against your weight against your profile and meeting the number on the screen. And if you consistently do that every other day, if you constantly get to that number, okay, that's on this screen before you start eating, you're going to be successful. You're going to gain so much confidence, okay? We're on day 12 here. After 2 weeks, you're going to have so much more confidence than you did on day 1. Believe me, okay? You get confident within 3, 4, 5 days, but after 2 weeks, you're just flowing with confidence. You may have only lost 2 pounds, okay? But it's not about how much weight you've lost in 12 days. It's about the fact that you've proven to yourself that you can do this, that you can eat every other day, that every other day you have the ability to go through the entire day without eating anything. And then on the other days, you don't start eating until you meet this MicroTargetDiet goal that's displayed on the screen for you, okay? And that's the way it works, okay? I've basically shown you how the diet works. I haven't demonstrated the cheat button function yet, which is something completely different, okay? But I'm just going to move forward here to show you what happens, okay, once we get a little further into it, okay? I know there are some other screens on here, okay? Well, let's take a look at them now, okay? View today's directions, okay, you know. View schedule is also here for your convenience. View schedule shows you the upcoming schedule, okay? It's going to show you the last couple of days. Remember, we're on day 12. So it's going to show you the last 5 days, and it's going to show you the next days. Now, they're color-coded. The red days are days you didn't eat or will not be eating in the future. So if we press a day that's already passed, like December 7th here, day 9, the pop-up message, if I touch it, it tells me, okay, this is a non-eating day. Okay, if I pressed on day 8, it would say you can eat on that day. Well, day 8 has already passed by. Okay, we're on day 12 right now. So if I press day 12, you can eat on that day. So if I press day 13, it's going to tell me this is a non-eating day. Now, you could say, well, why do I need this? Okay, here's why you need this. So that you can plan for the future, so that you know, this is a very handy tool to know what's going to happen in the future. For instance, this is December. Is Christmas going to be an eating day or a non-eating day? Okay, so I can quickly go down by scrolling. What I do is I touch the screen and I just pull it. Okay, I'm pulling it upwards and downwards. Touch the screen. Okay, hold your finger on it and pull upwards, and then hold your finger on it and pull downwards like that. Okay, if I tap, okay, I get that little pop-up message. But if I push my finger down on it and hold and pull, it goes up and down like this, okay? So I'm going to scroll over here to day 25, and you can see day 27 is December the 25th, okay? And it's showing red, which means this is a non-eating day. So this is going to be a problem for many, many people, obviously, because most people eat on December the 25th, whether they're on a diet or not. And that's why the cheat button is going to be so helpful, okay? Because on December the 25th, we're going to be pressing that cheat button, okay? And that'll be a different example that I will show you in a different video, but just remember that, okay? I'm going to quickly scroll, okay? You can quickly scroll by, the faster you move your finger, the faster it scrolls. And if I do this, watch, okay? It scrolls really quickly, okay? So I'm going to scroll all the way through it, watch, okay? To the very bottom. And there we are on day 1097. Now, remember it said that we were covering 1,096 days, 3 years, okay? So basically, the last day is basically the end. So that's why you may feel there's a 1-day discrepancy there. But remember, we started this diet on November the 29th, 2017. And here it is, the last day, November 29th, 2020. So we are scheduled to be 185 pounds exactly on that day. The app has done all the math necessary, okay, in the background to get us to that point in time. All we have to do is follow those daily directions and we will get there. We will be 185 pounds on that day. If we follow the directions, if we follow today's daily directions every time, and we meet these goals every other day, you will be 185 pounds on that day in the future at the end of that schedule, okay? I'm going to show you one more thing while we're here, and that's the history feature, okay? If I click View History, okay, it shows me the past 32 days if I swipe to the left, okay? Watch, see? Same thing. I just touch it and pull, okay? Pull it left, pull it right. Now, we've only done 12 days so far, so it can only show me 12 days. But it will show me up to 32 days. And basically, this is a way for you to just review. If you feel like reviewing what's happened already, see, it'll tell you. Day 2. There was our first goals right there. You can see our base goal that day was 265. Our base weight goal was 265.4, 265.2, 265.0, 264.8, and here's where it did it a second time, 264.8. You see? Day 8 and day 10 were both 264.8. And then day 12, we've gone down again, 264.6. Okay? So let's just go back to view today's daily directions. Okay? Oh, by the way, you may have seen that it says your trial period ends in 21 days, okay? Obviously, I've gone forward in time, but this is a demo app. It's not the real app, okay? Your number will continue to decline. It's not going to bounce back up to 21 days like that. If you've downloaded this from an app store, okay, yours is going to consistently go down. You can ignore the fact that mine has jumped back up to 21 days. That's because this is a demo model that I have with this next day button on it. That's the only reason that it's done that, okay? So I'm just going to press it a few more times. See, we're at 264.6, 264.4, 264.2, 264.2 a second time, okay? 264.0 now, okay? And what I wanted to do is it's not doing it. I wanted to show you on day 21 that a message would come up telling you that your trial subscription has elapsed and that you have to subscribe now if you want to continue using it. That's because because it's a demo app. But I'm just gonna press this button a few more times and move into the future and see if I can get that message. Oh, here it is. See? Okay. Mine's doing it on day 31. Yours is going to do it. This is a warning that it's going to my subscription is going to expire in 2 days. Okay. It says, please renew your subscription. I guess it should say, please, subscribe for the first time. But anyways, what you need to do at this point is there is no button specifically to subscribe, but that button will be there 2 days later. Okay, so just be aware that in 2 days or possibly even 1 day, depending on the store you've downloaded it from, you're going to have to make a decision whether you want to subscribe. I hope you will subscribe because this thing really does work so well, but that's your decision, So I'm just going to move forward a little bit more, and that's what you're going to see. Your screen's going to be a little bit different than that, but it's going to basically tell you've run out of time and now you need to go and subscribe to this. Okay, so in the real version you download, there's going to be a little logo there from the place you're supposed to subscribe from, and depending on where you downloaded it from, it'll look different. But there's going to be some graphic there. Okay, so basically at that point you would press okay, you want to subscribe. Okay, and then okay, this is set to Google Play. If this is the version that is going to be the Apple version, that's obviously going to be different. Okay, at this point in time, I've developed it for Android, but I'm really hoping to have the Apple version out as soon as possible. Okay, so this would be slightly different, obviously, for an Apple user. So MTD stands for MicroTargetDiet. Okay. Once again, because this is a demo, it's telling me that the subscription price is $3.99 a day. Ignore that. Okay, yours is going to look different. Okay, this is because this is set up as a demo for an alpha tester, which is me. I'm the alpha tester. Okay, so ignore what you've seen on the screen. You concentrate on what's showing on your screen, okay? Not what's showing on a demo screen. Yours, we don't have daily fees. There's a small monthly fee for subscribers, okay?